everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Allison. I'm 28 years old and I work full-time in healthcare but also do content creation on the side. I like to post a lot of videos about personal finance, my own debt payoff journey, and just lifestyle content as well. So if any of that is interesting to you, feel free to like and subscribe, follow along. We have a lot of fun here. Today's video is going to be another installment in my series of how I budget my paycheck so that I can pay off my debt as fast as possible. As a reminder, I have just about $20,000 of debt. $15,300 of that is a car loan, and then the rest is on credit cards. We are working on paying that off as quickly as we can so that I can be debt-free and use my money for other things. Let's get into this paycheck breakdown. As a reminder, I am an hourly employee, so I do get paid an hourly wage, so my income does vary just slightly, but I do generally know what I'm going to be making take home. So I do tend to pre-budget. I use just the Notes app on my phone, do a rough budget, and then once I know exactly what my income is going to be, plus whatever money's rolling over from the last pay period, then I kind of fine-tune those numbers and adjust as needed, figure out where I'm going to be putting my money. This breakdown is for the paycheck that I got on September 20th. I am going to share my screen with you guys just to show you the budget template that I use on my computer. I don't technically really use this that much for when I'm actually budgeting because I like to see the numbers written out kind of like in note format, if that makes any sense. But when I do make any purchases or any subscriptions that come out, I do use this template, and this template is by Coplenty. It is super convenient, very easy to use, and I will link it down below for you guys. I do have a discount code with them, so feel free to buy one of their templates. They are honestly amazing. Here is my budget template for the month of September. So up in this section here is where I put any of my income. So for this pay period, I was close. I guessed on this. So I made $2,321.54, which was a little bit more than my last paycheck. So that was pretty good. This is honestly a little sneak peek for my monthly reset video, where I do go through my entire budget with you guys. I put that up here, and then it kind of just shows you what you have left, what you've spent. You know, as I go through and explain some of these things that I budget for, I will add them in here. So like, I did put money into my savings and I put money towards my car. So all of that will get entered into here, and then I have like a better idea of what my overall spending is. But I will say, as I mentioned, I do find it easier to kind of write it all out in like a list format. And then as the purchases are made or like subscriptions come out, then I add them onto this spreadsheet. But I just wanted to show you guys that because I do love using this spreadsheet. And I do get a lot of questions on what I use to budget. So between these two things, that is kind of what I use. As I mentioned, my income was $2,321.54, and then I had $74.22 roll over from my last pay period, which is actually pretty good for me, I'm not gonna lie. I remember from last week because we went on our trip to Colorado. I had left a little bit extra in my spending for that reason, because I knew that we were going on a trip and I was probably gonna spend a little bit extra money. So I did a really good job, stuck to my budget, and didn't overspend. What I do then is take those two numbers, add them together, and that comes to $2,395.76. And that's the number that I'll use to kind of figure out my budget. So moving into the nitty gritty, obviously first thing I always save for is my rent. This is the second paycheck of the month, so I save $450 from this paycheck. I save $400 from my first paycheck, and my total rent is $850, which is amazing. I do know that is actually my total rent is $850. I pay the rent and my husband pays some of the utilities and stuff, so that's just what works for us. I do end up paying a little bit more for our like bills and stuff, but I also make more money, so for us it just works. We're married now, so we haven't fully combined our finances yet, but we do plan to. It's just right now, like, we only got married a few months ago and I'm just like, I can't deal with that right now. Like, if this is working for us now, let's just keep it that way. Probably once we get a house, we'll figure out a better way to split up our finances, but that is what's working for us now. I do live in Pennsylvania, so that might be, I get a lot of questions on like, where do you live? How is your rent that cheap? Blah, 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 blah. I live in Pennsylvania. We got very lucky with this apartment. There's not a lot of places even for this price. We just got lucky. My husband's mom had lived here for like 8 years before, and then his brother lived here and they were moving, and we ended up kind of coming into this apartment and had a similar rate to what they had like 9-10 years ago. So we got super lucky. And I'm sorry I'm going on like a tangent about this, but I feel like this is kind of interesting. The apartment's nice. It is a lot larger than even our apartment that we had in Boston, and that was twice the price. It is old. There's definitely things that are kind of falling apart. You know, it has the landlord special. Everything's painted over. There's a leak in the kitchen. Like, things are falling apart, but like from the outside it does look pretty good. We love having the extra space. We have a second bedroom that my husband uses as an office. But we're very fortunate for the price, the location, and everything that we get out of this. So point of us taking this apartment too was that we knew it was going to be like relatively short term. We've been here a year now. We plan on buying a house next year, but we were like, okay, yes, the apartment's not perfect. This, only having an $850 payment is gonna help us so much, like save so much and pay off our debt so much faster in the short term. So we thought it was totally worth it to take a lower rent price and have a, you know, less updated, less new apartment and just focus on our financial goals. So that was our overall thought process with, you know, having low expenses. Anyway, I'm so sorry I went on that little tangent about that, but I felt like I haven't truly ever really explained that, because on my short form videos I don't get to explain that very much. I just get a lot of comments about it. Then the next thing I do is put $50 into my emergency fund. I do want to put more into there once I get the opportunity to. I just like to put a little bit in there every single paycheck if I can, because I do think it's important to start building that up. I believe I took some out when I had to get my car fixed when I hit a deer, or the deer hit me, but I did have to take money out for that, so I wanted to kind of replenish that as slowly but surely until I do pay off my debt, and then I can really throw more money at that. I did put $50 into my emergency fund and then $100 into our house fund. We really do want to buy a house next year. I will definitely be credit card debt free. I will probably still have a little bit on my car loan, but I don't see that as like a negative thing really. I don't think car loans are bad. I just actually want to pay mine off faster because I have like the ability to right now. If I pay that off faster, that frees up even more money for me. So, and then I don't have to pay as much interest. So the push to pay off the car loan is really just like an internal thing. Like I don't have to be putting that much extra towards my car loan. In general, I feel like people have like a negative connotation to car loans, or like think, oh, why are you buying a house if you have a car loan or whatever. Like things are just like, you still have to live life, you know what I mean? Like I can still afford my car payment and also a mortgage payment at the same time. I just like won't be paying my car off as fast. I don't think that that's a problem. Like I still think there's never gonna be a perfect time where everything, well, there could be for some people, yes, but there's never gonna be a perfect time where everything lines up amazing, or like you're in the best financial situation ever. Like things go in waves. It like from my experience, there's never gonna be a time where, like, you know, sometimes as soon as it gets perfect, something happens to your car, you need new tires, you have a medical bill, like I don't know, things happen. So I'm obviously getting myself in the best situation that I can to buy a house and not be like house poor or like in a ton of debt when I buy a house. I just think, why keep waiting when we have a decent down payment saved? That's my little spiel. I get frustrated sometimes when people like feel the need to give their opinions, which is totally valid because I put my information out there on the internet to be talked about, and honestly the controversial topics tend to you know, make my content do better, but I do like to explain myself sometimes because it gets frustrating when you're just trying to live your life and people seem to have a lot of comments. But next year too is gonna be like the perfect time to buy a house if we're going to. Like, we're in that age group of like younger millennials. Like, I'm like the last year of millennials. If we didn't buy a house before COVID, like, we got screwed. And me and my husband were not ready around COVID to buy a house. We weren't married yet. I was still in college until like right after COVID. So with rates coming down, house prices in our area are not that bad right now. Next year would be the perfect time for us to buy a house if we like want to, you know what I mean? So next is groceries. I put $125 into our grocery account. That works great for us. And then the next thing is to look at all my subscriptions for the next 2 weeks, and I have 5 subscriptions in the next 2 weeks, which I don't love, but all of the ones that I have now I actually use. I did go through recently and cancel a bunch, so all the ones I have I do use. Total subscriptions for the next 2 weeks is $50.49. I have my Blink subscription, which is our little camera system, so that's $10.63. I have a CapCut Pro subscription, which I use for editing videos and such, and that is $9.99. I have Amazon Prime, which is $15.89. Spotify is $5.99. I still have the student discount. And then I have Hulu, and that is $7.99. Next thing I did was put $200 towards my car because I am trying to pay that off as fast as I can. And then I've recently decided to split up the payment between my 2 paychecks. Car payment is $332, but every month I just like pretend that it's $400 so that I put $200 from each paycheck towards my car. And then I can put the extra towards the principal, so I am paying more towards it, and then also I'm saving interest by doing that. So then the next thing is saving for my cats. During these 2 weeks, I'll need to get 2 things of cat litter and 2 things of cat food, and that comes to $75. And I think monthly I spend maybe like $180 on 2 cats for everything, so I don't think it's that bad, and they are quite literally the only thing holding me together and giving me joy, so they are worth it to me. I will do anything for those 2 beautiful cats. Okay, next thing is kind of what I mentioned this in my last paycheck video. This is something new. I'm going through a crisis. Like, I don't know what I want to do in the future. All I know is I quite literally cannot keep working where I'm working currently. It gives me a lot of anxiety, it gives me so much stress. I just find myself like being pretty miserable. I feel like I do a lot, like the shared workload is not even. There's pros and cons to my job. Just a lot of the cons are really like weighing on me and like outweighing the pros. Also, I have a really long commute. It just takes up so much of my time when I want to be doing other things and pursuing my real, like, true passions, which is content creation. And there's so much money to be made on content creation that, like, I want to bet on myself and prove to myself that I can do it. And I feel like there's a lot of limitations and I get held back because, like, I do also need to have a real full-time job. I just know that there's other options for me when it comes to like what I can be doing as a career. So anyway, I'm going through a crisis and I really want to change my job. Shocking. One of my friends said to me once that like she's never met somebody who had more jobs than me, and like guilty. Moral of the story is I signed up to take a medical coding course. Yeah, I'm excited. It seems a little challenging. I'm on chapter 4 and I want to take my test by the end of this year so that I can start looking for jobs and applying as soon as possible and basically hopefully have a job by next year. The price of the course was like $3,000, but you could break it up to like interest-free payments, so I did do that. So every paycheck for the next few paychecks, which kind of sucks, is going to be $250. I contemplated this for a few months and it truly got to a point at work where I was like, I have to do something. Like, I have to try something, you know, get out of this situation that I'm in. And this just seemed like a really good option because you can work from home. You don't really have to talk to anybody, which is like a key. You know, there's good hours, there's decent pay. There's definitely other jobs that I could be looking at without getting a certification that are work from home. My whole thing is I more so don't, like when I look at jobs in like healthcare, work from home, or healthcare management, or healthcare whatever, it's just not something, nothing jumps out at me and nothing screams like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Because again, as I mentioned, my true passion is not working a 9-to-5. I know that there's more out there for me and that I'm meant for more. It sounds bad, but like I basically want to use my 9-to-5 kind of as just like money and something that I can use to fund my life while I also pursue my other passions. When I was looking into it, I figured medical coding, one, I have a background in healthcare, which will be very beneficial, and two, I just feel like it's not going to be something that is draining me, it's not going to be something that makes me stressed. Again, I can work from home, and just like a simpler life. Like I only got my master's degree because it was a really good opportunity, but I'm not meant to be like a manager. I'm really not. I don't like leading people. I don't like making decisions. There are qualities I have that I feel like would be good as a manager. I do enjoy talking. I don't mind like public speaking, but I don't love like difficult situations, which like as a manager you have to deal with all the time. I just have been kind of looking at the big picture, looking at everything, looking at all my options, and this was a good option for me. And I'm not sure it will even lead to a job because I've heard that just by passing the course, like you're not guaranteed a job really, because most places want you to have like some coding experience, which I won't have. Again, as long as I try, then I'm not upset with myself because I want to find something that's gonna bring me some peace in my life. To me, worth a shot, because I keep going to work every day and like I'm miserable. So I'm going on like so many tangents today. I'm so sorry, and I'm just yapping away. I might cut out some of this stuff, but that's fine. As I mentioned, what I'm doing is saving $250, kind of like the car. I'm saving $250 from each paycheck, and then I'm making a $500 payment once a month for this for the next 6 months, I guess. And if I can pay it off faster, then I will. Then next, I'm also budgeting for my nails. Again, I know that some people are gonna not like this, and that's fine. My nails are something that I actually I need to do. Like, I need that for myself. And if you can tell by the rest of my budget, I don't really do anything else for myself. So getting my nails done every 3 weeks is like, if that is what gets me through, then like $80 is fine. Like I'm gonna pay for it, you know what I mean? So I do save $80 for my nails, and that is including tip. And I go to an actual like nail tech. They're just brown right now. So that's why it is a little bit more expensive too. I get structured gel, so it lasts 3 to 4 weeks. So again, I really only pay that usually once a month, sometimes like twice a month. I still think you need to do things for yourself that are gonna like bring you joy. Yes, it's important to be like strict with your budget and focus on your finances, but you can't like be miserable and you can't cut out everything. So anyway, I'm getting my nails done, and that's final. And then the last thing is credit card. So basically then what I do to figure out what I'm able to put towards my credit card is add all that up, figure out what that total is, and then see what I have left over. Then I can make a large like lump sum payment towards my credit cards. So when I did all that, I found that a good number to put towards my credit cards is $650. So I'm not mad about that. That's pretty good. Again, if I keep doing that and chugging along and not using my credit card, I will have those paid off literally by the end of the year, if not sooner, like sometime between now and the end of the year. It stinks when I go through it like this because like that's so much more money that I could be using for other things, but I obviously made bad purchases, bad decisions in my past, and I'm paying for it now, literally. That is just something to consider when you go and think again about using your credit card. It's like, just think of all the other things you could be doing with this money, and then like once you catch up, it's gonna feel so good when I finally catch up and I can be like saving money and having sinking funds and just like feel at peace with my finances. So you add all of those up, that comes to $2,031. Then what I do is subtract that from the income that I mentioned and leftover money that I had before. So that was the $2,395. And that leaves me with $364 for the next 2 weeks. And that stays in my checking account, and that is for anything that comes up in the next 2 weeks, including gas, including coffee if I let myself get. I haven't been getting coffee lately, but usually on Saturdays we do get breakfast, just at Dunkin' Donuts, so that includes anything like that. I do budget roughly $160 for gas for the 2 weeks because, again, I drive so much. That really leaves me with $204 for anything else. And I need an oil change, which is gonna be probably like half of that. So that is my budget for the next 2 weeks. I hope that was interesting, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. I always find these videos really fun. I love talking about my finances, and I love to explain all of my decisions and how I come up with these numbers and all of that. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys very soon in my next video.